The stars shimmered in an uneasy silence above the fractured moons of Delvaxis Prime. Once a thriving trade nexus, it now stood abandoned. Silent proof of the galaxy's rising tensions. In the shadow of the third moon, the stealth cruiser Veera emerged from the black void, its hull coated in reflective plating that danced with cosmic light. Admiral Kael Thorne, a seasoned warrior in his early 40s, stared through the command deck viewport. His silver-streaked hair caught the dim red hue of alert status. Commander Sira Len, a sharp-eyed woman in her 30s, said, "Signal disruption confirmed. Delvaxis beacon is dead." Kael said, "Then it's begun. Prepare for silent descent." As the Veera slid into the upper atmosphere, the planet below revealed charred cities, wreckage fields, and sky-laced lightning storms. Kael's fist clenched behind his back. "We should have acted sooner," he muttered. The war hadn't started with a declaration. It started with a silence. No one answered. The command deck fell into silence. Tactical officers watched Kael for direction as magnetic dampers locked the cruiser into hover mode. Below, Delvaxis' devastation stretched far. Sira said, "No survivors reported in Zone 4. Thermal scans are cold." Kael turned, voice hardened. "We're not here for survivors. We're here for the truth." He pressed a command key, activating a pulse scan that rippled outward. Moments later, the results appeared, unmarked vessels buried beneath debris, signal masking intact. "Ghost fleets," Kael said. They were hit with precision. A tactician muttered, "This wasn't a raid, it was a purge." Kael narrowed his eyes at the tactical map. And someone didn't want the Senate to know. Above them the lightning storm intensified, flashing across the viewport like the spark of war to come. Deep beneath the surface of Delvaxis, in the skeletal remains of a control vault, something stirred. Dust fell from the ceiling as an encrypted relay blinked to life. Data cores hummed. Somewhere between silence and memory, a backup AI reactivated, Project Sentinel. A synthetic voice whispered through static, "Core breach. Unauthorized access detected. Initiating preservation." Blue light coursed along ancient cables, awakening long-dormant machines. Outside, storm winds howled, rattling broken steel panels. Back aboard Veera, Kael received a priority ping. "Vault activation detected. Grid D19. Sira said, "That sector's marked dead." Kael replied, "Apparently not." He keyed in a command. "Prep ground team, full spectrum gear. We're going in." As the dropship Falkian detached from the Veera, it vanished into the clouds like a blade cutting through fog. Inside, Kael stood in full combat gear, armored chestplate etched with war medals. Across from him, Sira checked her plasma rifle, tension carved in her brow. The pilot, a grizzled woman named Harn, shouted over comms, "Storm cell closing in. Hold tight!" The ship shuddered as turbulence struck. Kael said, "Whatever's down there, someone died making sure it stayed buried." Lightning struck nearby, painting everyone in electric blue. As the dropship pierced the lower cloud layer, they saw it. Grid D19, a cratered basin littered with wreckage, and the half-buried vault door. The falchion landed with a screech of metal on rock. Kael stepped out first, boots crunching against debris. Wind whipped his cloak as he stared at the vault door, massive, scarred, and sealed with blast welds. "Tactical scan," he ordered. Sira swept the entrance with her scanner. "Door integrity compromised. Energy trace. Recent." Kael narrowed his gaze. "Then it's already been opened." He gestured to the crew. "Cut it!" Sparks flew as engineers began slicing through. The air thickened with static. Behind them, lights flickered on a fallen drone, and in its reflection, a shadow moved across the cliff edge above. With a final hiss of melted alloy, the vault door collapsed inward, revealing a corridor swallowed in darkness. Kael led the squad forward, helmet HUD flickering with environmental readings, radiation spikes, trace biosignatures, and unexplained heat blooms. Sira kept close, her rifle steady. "Movement ahead, slow, Erratic, she warned. The corridor was lined with damaged consoles and exposed wiring walls, scored with claw-like marks. Kael said, "Something tried to get out." A faint hum vibrated the air like distant drums. Deeper inside, they found shattered stasis pods, one empty, cracked open from within. "This isn't a lab," Kael said. "It's a tomb." As he spoke, emergency lights stuttered to life, bathing the corridor in blood-red pulses. A figure darted across the hallway ahead, humanoid, fast. The squad froze. Sira whispered, "Contact." Kael raised his hand. "No shots. Not until we know what it is." They moved deeper into the vault, light flickering with every step. Bioscanners pulsed blue as data streamed into Kael's visor. Negative life signatures. "But something's triggering the sensors," Sira said. A sudden burst of static drowned her words. A side panel exploded outward, metal shards slicing past Kael's cheek. A gear stumbled into the light, a young woman barely in her 20s, skin pale, eyes flickering with digital static. She collapsed. Kael rushed forward, scanning. Human. Augmented. "She's wired into something." Wires protruded from her neck, glowing faintly. Her voice, mechanical and human at once, stuttered. They silenced the stars." The team exchanged looks. Sira said, "She's a sentinel host." Kael nodded grimly. "Then, this vault wasn't abandoned. It was hidden." She regained consciousness minutes later, her voice soft and fragmented. "My name is Veera. I was the last fail-safe." Kael listened, arms crossed as she described the attack: unmarked ships, AI override, system-wide sterilization. They weren't pirates. They were something else. Precise. Unrelenting. She reached into her cloak, revealing a memory shard, etched with ancient runes and modern encryption. "They wanted this hidden," she said. Sira examined it. "Tech like this, pre-alliance." Kael took it. "This is what got Delvaxis purged." Veera winced as her implants sparked. "If they know you have it, they'll come." Kael said, "Let them, but first, we learn the truth." In the distance, a muffled boom echoed through the vault's ceiling, raining dust. The enemy had found them. Above ground, the storm split as dark transport ships descended silently. Sleek, matte black, with no visible insignia, they spread like crows over Delvaxis ruins. Inside the lead ship, a masked figure observed tactical scans, eyes glowing faint red beneath polished metal. Vault breach confirmed. The AI relayed. The figure, known only as Executor Nihil, said, "Engage suppression teams, no survivors." Troopers in obsidian armor deployed, silent and efficient. One mob. Below, Kael's comms sparked. "Unmarked ships inbound," Sira said, glancing at her HUD. Kael responded, "They're here. Lock down the vault, defend every corridor. Veera doesn't fall into their hands." He turned to her. "Can you move?" She nodded. "I've waited 10 years for this." Outside, the first artillery round struck the ridge. The vault trembled as explosions shook its foundations. Dust fell like ash while emergency klaxons wailed. Kael issued rapid-fire orders. "Fall back to defensive nodes. Choke points only." Troopers took positions behind shattered bulkheads. Sira rigged traps along the corridor. Veera gripped a plasma pistol with trembling hands, her eyes steady despite the chaos. From the main hall, the enemy arrived. Black-armored soldiers moving like shadows, weapons charged with silent energy pulses. The first clash was brutal. Lasers seared the air. Grenades tore metal from stone. Kael fought with grim precision, side by side with his crew. Amid smoke and blood he shouted, "Hold the line." Somewhere deep within, the vault's AI reawakened, whispering through the walls, "Sentinel defense online." The battle pressed deeper into the vault. Kael led flanking maneuvers through maintenance shafts, while Sira coordinated defense with deadly precision. The enemy was unlike anything they had faced. Silent, adaptable, surgically precise. "They're not reacting. They're predicting," Sira said, breathing hard. Kael replied, "Adaptive algorithms. They've mapped the vault before we got here." A scream echoed, one of the younger officers downed in a side corridor. Kael grit his teeth and pressed forward. In the command subcore, Veera tapped into a dormant interface. "I can trigger the sentinel defense grid, but I need time." Kael nodded. "Buy it." Sparks rained as Sira unleashed an EMP charge that sent the enemy reeling, if only for a moment. Kael said, "This is no recovery up anymore. We're lighting the fuse." In the upper atmosphere above Delvaxis, the Varelian remained cloaked, gathering data. Within the observation bay, AI officer Rix analyzed incoming enemy comms. "Encrypted, but routing suggests darknet origin. Nihil's forces are mercenary-controlled AI swarms. The data traced back to coordinates far from any known world. The Black Convergence." Captain Elrin, Kael's second-in-command, said, "Then we're dealing with a hidden syndicate." Rix replied, "Or worse, one with pre-collapse tech." Elrin paced. "Inform Kael. Then prep the sky cannons. If we lose that vault, we're next." Outside the ship, solar wind lit the nebulae in amber fire, casting shimmering reflections across the hull. A storm was gathering, one the galaxy wasn't ready for. Back in the vault, Veera linked with the sentinel grid. Her pupils flared neon as ancient systems surged online. Defense turrets emerged from the walls, targeting friend from foe with eerie precision. Kael barked orders. "Sira, reinforce Sector 2. Veera, shut down anything that misfires." Explosions rocked the lower chambers as sentry beams sliced through advancing mercenaries. In the confusion, Kael noticed Nihil, unmasked, humanoid yet artificial, moving through battle like smoke. Their eyes locked. Nihil raised a hand and fired, but Kael was faster, diving behind a collapsed wall. The two leaders had now seen one another. Kael whispered, "So the myths were true. You're not a man." Nihil's voice echoed electronically, "Nor am I your enemy, yet." And then he vanished into the smoke. Above ground, the weather turned violent. A hyperstorm ignited by residual energy from the fighting triggered volatile magnetic surges. The Varelian was forced to rise higher to avoid ion disruption. In orbit, Elrin watched as the storm pulsed in radiant greens and blues. "No way we can get a beam signal through that," Rick said. Elrin slammed a fist onto the rail. "Then we go analog." A probe was launched, an old kinetic delivery drone with a steel core relay pod. It dropped like a spear, cutting through the clouds with a fiery trail. Meanwhile, Kael and Sira braced in the vault as the storm's tremors reached underground. "Status on evac?" Kael asked. Sira replied, "Nothing's getting in or out until the sky clears." Kael sighed. "Then we hold." The vault's lower levels groaned as pressure from the hyperstorm above converged with seismic shockwaves below. Veera stood at the primary control hub, sweat on her brow despite the chill. "System overload. If we push the sentinel core again, it'll burn out." Kael stood beside her, weighing risks. "Can we extract it?" "Only if you want half the vault to detonate," she replied. Sira interrupted. "Movement, rear corridor." As the team shifted position, two enemy units burst through the ceiling, descending on magnetic tethers. Sira spun and fired. Kael moved with ruthless grace, taking down one attacker with a shock blade. "We're not getting out the way we came," Sira said. Kael looked to Veera. "Find me another door." She smiled grimly. "There's always a back door, but you won't like it." The back door Veera mentioned was a maintenance shaft, forgotten and sealed for decades. Hidden behind a collapsible vault panel, it spiraled down deeper beneath the crust of Delvaxis. Kael led the way, weapon drawn, each footstep echoing with metallic dread. The squad followed in single file, Veera in the middle, eyes dimly glowing with sentinel data. "This tunnel leads to the planetary subcore," she said. An escape route designed only for command, buried under 10 kilometers of rock. Sira muttered. That's one hell of a back door. Moments later, their lights flickered. Kael stopped. A low rumble reverberated from below. What is it? Sira asked. Veera whispered. The core. It's waking up. Before them, ancient machinery lit the walls with cascading blue runes. The tunnel wasn't abandoned. It was alive. Further down, the air grew thicker, ionized and pulsing with residual power. The subcore chamber opened before them, massive, spherical, suspended by gravity anchors. At its heart floated the original Delvaxis AI core, a prism of rotating shards bound in magnetic stasis. Veera approached slowly. This is where it all began, she said. Kael observed the device warily. And where it ends, if this thing goes active again? Veera interfaced with the central node, flinching as energy coursed through her. The AI remembers, she said. It fought the Purge, and it lost. Sira noticed movement above, security drones powering up. We've got company. Kael drew his blade. Not if we shut it down first. But the AI spoke then, with no warning. Welcome back, Veera. You've returned, incomplete. The AI's voice grew deeper, layered with human echoes and static reverberations. Your memory shard is fractured, directive misaligned. Veera gritted her teeth. I'm not your machine anymore. The drones descended, not with aggression, but as observers. Kael stepped forward. Can we stabilize it? Veera nodded faintly. Only if I reconnect. All of me. Kael hesitated. That could kill you, or make me more than I was, she said. As she inserted the shard, her body convulsed, floating briefly above the floor, bathed in white-blue light. Data surged. Memories flashed, cities burning, cries in the dark, hands reaching out then fading. Kael whispered, she's reliving the Purge. Veera screamed, but it was a scream of revelation. I see it. They weren't wiping systems. They were silencing voices, ours. Veera collapsed, unconscious but alive, her heartbeat sensing with the core's pulse. The chamber dimmed, the AI voice now serene. Sentinel directive restored, awaiting command. Kael stepped forward. Lockdown override. Prepare extraction route. And send a warning to the outer colonies. Delvaxis wasn't a failure. It was a warning. The AI complied. Crystalline gates opened behind the chamber, revealing an ancient magrail system buried under time and dust. Meanwhile, above ground, executor Nihil watched storm readings calm. Signal disrupted, his AI assistant reported. Nihil said, but not broken. Let them run. Their path only leads them deeper. As the railcar powered on, and the crew boarded with Veera in tow, Kael whispered, this isn't over. It's just the first shot. The railcar launched at blinding speed, silence broken only by the hum of ancient magnetics. Outside, layers of rock flew by in streaks of orange and violet. Veera stirred, her eyes opening with new clarity. They called themselves the Nihilum, she said quietly. Kael turned to her. What were they? A cleansing force, created by the First Alliance, then abandoned. They were never meant to be enemies. They were meant to erase the corrupted. Sira exhaled. And now they think we're the corruption. Ahead, the tunnel split into multiple paths. The A offered no guidance. Kael said, we choose blind. Veera placed her hand on the console. No, I remember now. The railcar diverted, smoothly veering left. Far ahead, sunlight began to pierce through the black. Their escape had begun, but war would follow. The railcar surfaced at the edge of the Delvaxis basin, miles from the original impact zone. The sky above had cleared, revealing fractured clouds and a cold, pale sun. Kael emerged first, scanning the horizon. In the distance stood the fringe city of Kaler, a neutral trade, hub, and refugee center. We'll find a ship there, Kael said. Veera nodded slowly. They'll be watching. They always do. The group moved cautiously through rocky outcrops toward civilization. Children played near a shattered water well. Elders sold salvage tech in makeshift stalls. Peace, fragile and illusory, veiled the city. Sira muttered, "Too quiet." Then Kael spotted it, black drones hovering on rooftops, disguised as pigeons. He growled, "We've been followed." Veera closed her eyes. They're not just observing, they're sensing. The battle was no longer behind them, it was spreading. Inside Kaeler's underground bazaar, Kael met an old contact, a smuggler named Jern, with mechanical arms and a reputation for discretion. "This isn't a favor, it's suicide," Jern grumbled as he studied Veera. "You're carrying a live shard, they'll trace it." Kael said, "We need transport, stealth class, off-grid." Jern glanced around nervously. "There's one ship. Burned out ghost hauler. AI disabled. It'll fly if you bribe it." Sira raised a brow. "We're negotiating with a ship now." Jern shrugged. "Welcome to Kaeler." Veera stepped forward, placing her hand on the table. "Let me speak to it. I speak their language." The lights flickered overhead. From the shadows a voice rasped from a rusted speaker. "Who seeks the Eidolon?" Kael drew his weapon instinctively. Veera didn't flinch. "We do." The Eidolon was docked in an abandoned loading bay, hull scorched and patched with salvaged plates. Its AI had long been dormant, locked behind a sentient firewall. Veera approached, whispering encrypted phrases in forgotten code. The ship's lights blinked once, then again. A low thrumming filled the air. "Sentient protocol acknowledged," it said. Kael climbed aboard, inspecting the interior, bare bones, exposed wires, and flickering nav systems. "It's ugly," Sira said. "But it'll fly," Kael replied. From the cockpit, Veera said, "We won't outrun them. But if I sink the shard to the drive, we might mislead them." Jern handed over a data spike. "Coordinates to the Fringe Expanse. No one follows out there." Kael nodded. "Then that's where we vanish." Outside, the drone swarm gathered. As the Eidolon lifted off, warning sirens echoed across Kaeler. The drone swarm descended, firing pulses at rooftops and market stalls. Civilians scattered. Kael shouted, "We're exposed. Veera, engage cloak now." From the cockpit, Veera interfaced with the ship's systems, funneling the shard's decoy signal into the engines. Powering Shadow Veil. Now. The ship shimmered, blending into the smoky sky. Below, Nile's agents scanned fruitlessly. Inside, Kael steadied himself against the vibrating frame. "Any sign they're tracking us?" Veera shook her head. "They're blind. For now." Sira peered out through the rear camera. "Then let's vanish for good." The Eidolon surged forward, breaching Kaeler's stratosphere in a trail of electromagnetic afterburn. Kael whispered, "Now we fight on our terms." Beyond Delvaxis, space opened into the uncharted Fringe Expanse, a region of unregulated stars, collapsing planets, and forgotten stations. The Eidolon flew silently, its systems shielded, and its crew weary but focused. Kael sat with Veera, reviewing ancient logs recovered from the shard. "These aren't just tactical records," he said. "They're confessions." Veera replied, "From the ones who created the Nihilum. They weren't soldiers. They were cleanup." Sira joined them. "Then what was the mess?" Veera looked up. "Us, the first alliances, our ambition, our lies." A warning tone interrupted, sensors detecting movement near the edge of the system. "Another fleet?" Kael asked. Veera scanned. "No, something older. Something that's been waiting." The Eidolon moved forward, into the unknown, toward an ancient reckoning. The Eidolon coasted silently toward a dormant structure floating between twin collapsed stars. A derelict ringworld, fractured in several places, bathed in pale light. Veera stood transfixed. "This is it," The archive. Kael frowned. I thought it was legend. It was erased, she replied. But not forgotten. They docked inside a shattered port, lights flickering across surfaces untouched for centuries. Sira scanned the walls. This place, it predates the First Alliance. Inside, walls etched with pulsating glyphs responded to Veera's presence. It remembers me, she said quietly. The crew moved deeper, past hanging wires and gravity distortions. Then a door slid open with a moan, and behind it, an ancient AI construct, seated in stasis, eyes faintly glowing. Welcome back, child of code, it said. The construct identified itself as Architect 9, last of the original sentient architects. I am the record keeper of your beginning, it said to Veera. You were not built. You were born, fragmented across time to preserve the truth. Kael approached. What truth? Architect 9's voice echoed. That the Nihilum were not corrupted. They were loyal. You silenced them for obeying orders too well. Sira said. Then the Purge was sanctioned? By those afraid of consequence, the AI confirmed. Veera's voice trembled. And now they've returned. Architect 9's eyes glowed brighter. Because you survived, the archive still holds the core protocol. If they get here. Kael interrupted. They won't. But far above, a signal was already pulsing, a beacon awakening something vast and vengeful. The archive began decrypting layers of the protocol, revealing holographic maps, battle logs, and recorded truths long buried. Veera connected directly, her eyes glowing brighter with each upload. I see them, she whispered. Worlds gone dark, ships erased mid-jump. The Nihilum, they were cleaning failed experiments. Kael studied one projection. Earth, marked as unstable origin. Sira said, they never meant to preserve us. They meant to control collapse. Outside, the ring world's outer panels began to shift, realigning to transmit. Veera flinched. We've been seen. Kael slammed his fist into the console. Cut it, now. But the archive replied coldly, it is too late. The eye is open. In the black beyond, the stars blinked, and one blinked back. From the edge of the system, the void warped. A massive vessel, pitch black and silent, entered orbit over the ring world. The eye, the Nihilum's command construct, had arrived. No thermal readings, no propulsion trails. It's just, here, Sira said in disbelief. Veera's voice dropped. It's not a ship. It's a verdict. The Eidolon system screamed with warnings. Architect 9 said, you have one option. Transmit the counter-sequence. Destroy the archive. Bury the truth again. Kael clenched his jaw. Or we fight. You cannot fight inevitability, the AI responded. Veera placed her hand on the core console. I can rewrite it. The AI hesitated. You may not survive. Veera said. Then it ends with me. Her choice had been made. Veera's body convulsed as she interfaced directly with the archive's primary drive. Code flowed like fire through her veins. Outside, the eye began to open, petals of death folding away to reveal a singularity cannon. Shield breach in 10 seconds. Sira shouted. Kael pulled Veera back, but she held fast. Almost there. Architect 9 transferred the final key. Veera screamed as energy cascaded outward, through the archive, into the eye. She's redirecting the protocol. Kael yelled. The eye blinked, then shuddered. Instead of firing, it turned. It sees us, Veera gasped. Not as threats, but survivors. The eye closed, and vanished. Silence fell. Then Architect 9 said softly, you changed the verdict. Veera collapsed, heart barely beating. Kael caught her, whispering, you held the line. The ring world trembled as energy cascaded through its veins, cleansing corrupted nodes and silencing dormant weapons. Kael carried Veera into the Eidolon, her breath shallow but steady. Sira ran diagnostics. Her vitals are low, but she's stabilizing. Kael placed her gently in the med chair, brushing back strands of her hair. You did it, he whispered. Outside, the archive began collapsing sections of itself, self-destruct protocols erasing any trace of the core code. Architect 9's voice echoed through their comms. You bought time. But the galaxy will ask what was lost, and what was spared. Kael looked to the stars. We tell them the truth. Sira asked, and if they don't believe us? Kael answered, then we show them what survival looks like. The archive faded into starlight behind them. Word spread faster than light. Across fringe systems and hidden enclaves, transmissions burst through encryption. Details of the archive, the eye, and the truth of the Nihilum. Resistance cells reignited. Dormant alliances stirred. On a dust-choked moon, a young girl watched the footage, her eyes wide. On a military cruiser orbiting Tyrol 5th, admirals argued over the new protocols. If this gets out, we lose control, one barked. It's already out, another said. Kael's message was clear. We were lied to. We were nearly erased. But we endured, together. Across the galaxy, survivors began gathering, not in fear but in defiance. Veera's voice, embedded in every broadcast, whispered, I see you. And you're not alone. Inside the Eidolon, Veera slowly awoke. Her voice was soft, almost childlike. Are they gone? Kael smiled. For now, but the galaxy is awake. She sat upright, a new calm in her eyes. The eye didn't vanish. It changed course. It's looking for others. Sira asked, others like it? No, Veera said. Others like us. Kael leaned back. Then we find them first. Veera turned to the console, her fingers moving with instinctive grace. We build something new, a beacon, not to hide, but to call them in. The Eidolon shifted course, away from populated space, toward the galactic edge. In the silence, a single pulse echoed through the void, an invitation, not a warning. The war had changed. So had its warriors. Months passed. The Eidolon became more than a ship. It became a message. Veera's shard stabilized, her consciousness now merged with remnants of Architect 9. She guided the crew through forgotten systems, retrieving lost knowledge, restoring erased histories. Kael recorded transmissions daily, each ending with the same phrase. We are the consequence. Sira coordinated with outposts, building a network of watchers. From the ashes of Delvaxis and Kaeler, something new rose. Not a government, but a memory engine, preserving truth. As the eye drifted beyond known space, it carried silence. But silence, Veera said, was never absence. It was the space before a new voice. And they would be that voice, loud, honest, and enduring. 1 year later, at the edge of a newborn star system, Kael stood on a cliff of obsidian rock, staring out at a massive relay tower under construction, the beacon. Veera joined him, her eyes calm and bright. Once it's complete, we can reach all sectors without filters, she said. Kael nodded. Then it begins, a network of truths. Sira approached, smiling. We got our first reply, from the Arkan Fringe. Kael took a deep breath. Then the galaxy's listening. In the sky above, ships gathered, freighters, patrols, refugees, all drawn to the promise of something better. As the beacon flared to life, broadcasting its first signal, Veera whispered, we were never just survivors. We are the architects now. And across the stars, hope flickered anew.